Hello, my name's Nikki. I'm the Anna Chaplain for this benefice. And today, on Friday the 4th of November, I'm going to read a passage from the book of Daniel. Just as a quick recap, Nebuchadnezzar, when he seized Jerusalem and they took all the treasures from the temple, and they also took so many people into exile, there were some chosen people, some young men who were deemed as intelligent and able to learn quickly. They were chosen to be re-educated in the Babylonian faith and tradition and culture. They were renamed, given Babylonian names, and they were there to serve the king at the palace. Now, amongst these men were Daniel. He was renamed as Belteshazzar, and the other men were renamed as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, these men were expected to conform to the Babylonian culture and religion, but they were so bold, so strong in their faith and their trust in God that they resisted at every point. Now, yesterday James described what happened when these men, these faithful men, were thrown into a fiery furnace. And today I'm just going to explore the preceding chapter just to look at what led up to that event. So here is Daniel chapter 3 verses 1 to 18, the image of gold and the blazing furnace. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. He then summoned the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials to come to the dedication of the image he had set up. So the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials assembled for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before it. Then the Herod loudly proclaimed, "Nations and people of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all other kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of the God that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up." The image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. "Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace." Therefore, as soon as they heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, and all other kinds of music, all the nations and people of every language fell down and worshipped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. At this time, some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May the king live forever. Your Majesty has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the image of gold, and that whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews who you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your Majesty. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold that you have set up." Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold that I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, then very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Wow, what courageous men! They have been ordered to go against their Jewish faith and told to worship the gold image and the Babylonian gods. They have been threatened with death by burning in a blazing furnace if they disobey. I wonder how we would all respond if we were faced with the same situation. Now, it's quite a short message today because the passage is so long, but what strikes me by reading this today is the boldness of these men, their courage. Their faith is so rock solid, and they are prepared to stand firm no matter what the consequences. They know that their God is able to save them from the flames. But even if he doesn't, they say, even if our God doesn't save us, they still won't worship the gold image or serve the Babylonian gods. And I just sense perhaps God saying to us today, this boldness, this courage that we need to grab hold of and use in our everyday lives to stand up for what we know is to be true and right, even if we might feel threatened in some way. This might mean standing up for the protection of our world, environmental protection, or it could mean standing up against some kind of bully in our lives, or it could mean all number of other things. There's a lot of work to do, that's for sure. So let's trust in God, let's stand firm in our faith and in the courage and boldness with which God blesses us. Amen.